the next head coach in the Big Ten to win a natty. So I'm not going to go through and have us all do a top 10 here. We'll kind of just talk about coaches together and maybe see if we can put a top 10 together. The whole idea here is which coaches that are currently in the Big Ten. Like, I don't want to talk about coaches that will be here next year or anything like that. Coaches who are currently in the Big Ten, who has the best chance to win a national championship next in their
Dan,
career. So
Dan,
obviously, what do you say, Ryan?
I was going to say Dan Lanning.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was my answer too, but that's off the board apparently.
Oh, sorry. I did. I was too gun. Anyway, I'll just say I didn't say what everybody else
My
said.
thought was the first names you have to talk about are obviously Dan Lanning, the hype that Ryan Day is getting this year. Lincoln Riley has been to the playoffs multiple times. If he hasn't improved defense this year, could he make that happen? And then obviously Sharon Moore with the defending national champions. Even though it is his first year, I think, you'd be psychotic not to put, the national champions at least with a chance of winning the national championship this year. So, I mean, I'll leave it to you guys. I'm obviously biased with thinking it's probably going to be Ryan Day, but sounds like you guys are leaning a little bit more toward the Dan Lanning this year.
Yeah, I'll give a top 3 or 4, and then we'll see if they I'll say Dan Lanning, Ryan Day. I'm going to put Sharon Moore, and then 4, I'll put James Franklin this year because, I think.
Oh no,
I'm gonna. At the end of the day, I can't say Lincoln Riley. When has he had a defense? I mean, you know what I mean? They have had a joke of a defense for the last 3 or 4 years. So I'm not putting Lincoln Riley in front of James Franklin. I'm just trying to keep it looking around at who else we could put in the 4 spot that would be. I don't even know.
Rule?
Yeah, man.
Let's try making a bowl game first.
What did you say, Sammy?
They haven't made a bowl game since 2016. Let's make a bowl game first.
Well, but I if you ask me who has a better chance of winning a national championship, Lincoln Riley or Matt Rule, I know Lincoln Riley's at USC, but I don't know. Lincoln Riley can't put together a defense until I see it. I don't know. I might go with Matt Rule.
I mean, if you really
but I don't think he would. I don't know if he would win at Nebraska. I could see Matt Rule going somewhere else and winning. He might do it at Nebraska, but it might take too long.
And the James Franklin thing, it's like most years,
such a bad game.
11-1 or 10-2 for Franklin. Their losses were to either Michigan or Ohio State. You know what I mean? So it's not like his losses are oh man, over that hump. He's always losing to the top 3 or 4th ranked team in the country. You know what I mean?
What happens when you go to the playoff? You play the top teams, you're gonna lose.
Yeah, but he got screwed out of the playoff one year. They deserved to go. And
they still would have lost by 40.
We don't know that.
I'll say this. I think we're all in the same. I think the top tier is pretty obvious. Like Ryan Day and Dan Lanning, I think are your top 2. I think, and I would push maybe a little bit more for Lincoln Riley. I think he made the firing and hiring that he had to. I think any Ohio State fan knows that Alex Grinch was a terrible defensive coordinator. It is terrible. And Danton Lynn, I think he's going to do wonders for that defense. So I have Lincoln as at my number 3 spot. And then I think Sharon Moore, the one that I feel like is a huge wild card. James Franklin, I like too. The wild card for me is Jed Fish, because I don't think he's a good coach, but he's willing to program hop quicker than anybody else on this list. And so, if another job opens up, in the next year or 2,
Florida,
Florida, could he luck himself? Could he Gene Chizik his way into a national championship?
Yeah. Hold on, does that count if he goes to Florida? Does that count as a Big Ten coach winning a national title?
Well, just Big Ten coaches this year, the coaches who are in the Big Ten this year. Doesn't matter if they go somewhere else and they win it next year, but the coaches that are in the Big Ten this year, who has the best chances of winning, a national championship next or in their career or whatever that might be. Because I agree with Zack. If you go to Florida and you recruit the right way, and you get some guys in the portal, I mean, I know the SEC is tough, but Florida has some history, and they've won a national championship. What was it, 08 or something, 07,
08.
whenever it was. And they could do it. So he wouldn't be a Big Ten coach anymore, obviously, but he's in the Big Ten this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Lanning or Ryan Day. Michigan has their questions. We'll see in 2 or 3 years if the NCAA brings anything against with Connor Stallions. Lincoln Riley at USC. If they can figure out the defense, they'll always have the offense there. I have no faith in James Franklin to coach in the big game.
I know.
None.
Yeah, I understand, man. He always chokes in the big one. I get it, but it was like, who am I going to put in the 4th spot? To me personally, I mean, Lincoln Riley, but again,
I would have whittled the list down to 2. It's Lanning or Day, or I'll put an asterisk since you said Florida. Mike Norvell when Florida State comes to Big Ten.
There you go. Let me give one more dark horse that I think is maybe flying under the radar. But again, this would be because of job hopping. David Braun. Like, he had a great first year.
Northwestern?
Yes, but he would have to job hop. I'm not saying he would win it at Northwestern, but like, great first year. If he has another really good year at Northwestern, like, he's going to be in line for some premier jobs.
If Northwestern,
we have that much faith in David Braun.
I mean, he took a team that I thought was going to win 1 game last year and won 8. So
I get that, but
he's not high on my list. He made my top 10. Like, I was trying to think about, like, particularly with situation and like who could level up. So, like, for instance, like, I think Curt Cignetti might be a better coach, but like, he's in his 60s. He's probably not going to job hop too much. And like, I doubt, no offense to Indiana, but I don't think Indiana's going to win a national championship. No. But like, I don't think Northwestern's going to win a national championship, but I could see David Braun hopping to a better program, eat more easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. That age. We'll see.
Yeah. See, he's a dark horse guy.
Yeah.
I could see a situation where. Go ahead,
JR, you know this better than I do. If Ryan Day doesn't win a national championship this year, is he done?
He's not done.
Perfect question.
Yeah, he's not done. He has to beat Michigan. That's what he has to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't though beat Michigan. Are they gonna can him Day if they can't beat Michigan this year?
I don't think that Ohio State will can him. I think every Ohio State fan will want him to be canned, but I mean, his buyout is too much. And I mean, Ross Bjork just fired Jimbo Fisher for so much money. I don't know if he wants to go through all that again. I think that if he does lose to Michigan this year, he would get one more year just because of the buyout.
It's not his money. It's the university's money.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, I think his buyout and stuff is too much. But I think every single fan will want him fired, and
that would probably make me think that I would put Lanning ahead of Day, just because Day might not be there in a year.
That was exactly what I was going to say. Is Dan Lanning just lost to Washington twice last year, and one time in the regular season, once in the Pac-12 championship, and you've got Oregon fans calling this guy a top 5 coach in the nation, which I think is a little crazy, but personally, that's what they say. And he just lost to his rival twice in 1 year. Ryan Day has lost to his rival 3 years in a row, and every single Ohio State fan out there is like, who cares if he only lost 7 games in his entire career and he's won over 50 games? Fire him if he doesn't beat Michigan this year.